You are talking about Buddha abandoning his family. No, he did not abandon his family. He renounced the samsaric activity for the sake of all the samsaric sentient beings, to free them from the suffering of samsara. You say 21st century people have hard time to understand Buddha abandoning his family. Well, let's put it this way. Buddha renounced his attachment, his jealousy, his greed, so on and so forth, towards his family and worldly pleasure, because that will not help him and that will not help them. So by renouncing it, then he can be free from all the effects of the worldly cause and conditions. What is that? There's so many ideologies, so many concepts in this world, but there's one ideology everyone is in agreement. That is, nobody like to suffer. Everybody like to be happy. So how can that be achieved? By realizing the limitless potential, the Buddha nature within. And that he cannot attain with attachment, with jealousy, with greed, with anger, all these things. Therefore he have to renounce them. So, if I may, I like to say this as a response to you, to make it more clear, although it might sound a little bit pragmatic, but it's okay. Buddha renounced his family for the sake of all sentient beings, including his family. And then people who don't understand this, maybe renounce the whole humanity and all sentient beings, renounce all of them for his family or her family, and then his family and her family is also renounced for himself or herself at the end. Maybe this is a little bit extreme, excuse me. But I think maybe as an example, I'm allowed to say something like that. Actually, when Vajrayana Buddhism let's say is appreciated by people in whose let's say historical background, the Vajrayana Buddhism technically does not exist. So in that situation, when that person gets interested and inspired to learn the teaching of Buddhism, teaching of Buddha, which now everybody calls Buddhism, and particularly Vajrayana Buddhism, as your request for me to explain, then of course it influences that person's perception about everything, above all about himself or herself, and everything around him or her, and also everyone else that they interact. But that influence is not something unusual, because let's say if some Oriental people from a remote village goes to their capital, for example, like somebody from, since right now I'm in India, so somebody from North India, like remote area, goes to places like New Delhi or Mumbai or Chennai. That environment itself will affect that person's perception about himself or herself and everything and everyone else. But it is natural. So when somebody who was never exposed to the detailed teachings of Vajrayana Buddhism get exposed to Vajrayana Buddhism, then it will have impact on them. Yes. But nothing unusual. And when you talk about its impact on a culture of a country or culture of a particular society, or the impact of that society to the Vajrayana Buddhism, or all these things, yes, there will be something. But it will not be something that is so significant that we have to highlight it, because it will be very subtle. For example, right now I'm talking Dharma, about Dharma in English, and instead of talking in Tibetan. So this is also a change, but it is not something unusual. Tibetan is also a language, English is also a language, and at the same time, of course, right now I'm talking to a camera, and of course behind that camera there is lots of people, and I'm talking to them. So these things affect you, or affect the way the Dharma is presented, a little bit, but not very much. And I wanted to say one thing. Actually, as a disciple from a different culture and different background, become a practitioner of Vajrayana Buddhism, it should affect them in a positive way. But it should not make them something totally different, because lotus is always lotus. Whether it grows in east or in west or in north or in south, it needs to grow with its conditions. You take a lotus seed from a tropical place to a very high altitude place, then you have to create the condition for that lotus. Otherwise, that lotus will become a dry lotus. So, same way, if something from very high land is taken to low land, then vice versa. So, this kind of adjustment, this kind of slight changes are necessary. And if one is sincere as a disciple, learning the Dharma, and also a sincere teacher teaching the Dharma as a guru, then this change is not something that one should be concerned. But if one changes for the sake of becoming popular, becoming kind of trendy, trend, fashionable, popular, for that purpose change the Dharma as a teacher, then I think we have to think very carefully. Because there is a saying in European, a common sort of thing, they say, don't throw the baby with the bath water. You throw the bath water away, but keep the baby. So we should not change the Dharma for the sake of making it so-called accessible or popular or acceptable or something. Because a person who can't understand the Dharma, then you have to make that person to understand the Dharma. It is not that you have to make the Dharma not necessary to be understood. So this way, I think there is something that we should be concerned when it is changed intentionally. This also goes with the individuals, their own culture. Well, actually, every sentient being have the potential to become Buddha. Yes. And that potential is ultimate potential. And long as we don't realize that, then that only remains as a potential. But from time to time, that potential works. A great master a long time back, many centuries back, Shantideva, wrote in his Bodhisattva Charya Avatara, Changchup Sembe Jobalan Jupa. So in that he wrote that sometimes there will be a light brighter than the sun, flashes for a moment in the darkest of night. Like in a dark night when there is no moon, and then on top of that, if there's a big storm during that time, then even stars will not shine through the storm. But when the lightning comes, that is brighter than the sun. So that Buddha nature manifests from time to time. And I don't want to just say too much because it might cause misunderstanding. But I always think that that is what makes us survive. You know, all sentient beings, how much they are suffering, they are still surviving. And the entire humanity, how much mess is there, we are still surviving. Because that potential is working not fully, but in a desperate situations, that potential manifests like a flash of light during the darkest of and heaviest of storm. So it is always there. Actually, in entire teaching of Buddha, every sentient being have a Buddha nature. Every sentient being can become Buddha. So, out of every sentient being, we are human being. You know? And then within the human being, there is man, there is women. Man is father, woman is mother. And how can there be any difference? In principle, in essence. But of course, there is difference in relative role. Mother can never be father. Father can never be mother. Mother always have to be mother. Father always have to be father. And that does not mean that one is superior and another is inferior. No. Different role. And this role should never be confused. Because if you get this role confused, then you will be very unhappy man and you will be very unhappy women. Because you're already men and you're already women for this life, and if you don't understand and appreciate being a woman or being a man, then rest of your life you will be struggling and confused, and so much complaint will be there within yourself. So far as essence is concerned, no difference. But far as roles are concerned, lots of differences. And these differences are good differences, necessary differences, natural differences, and honorable differences. We should appreciate mother as a mother. We should appreciate father as a father. We should appreciate brother as a brother. We should appreciate sister as a sister. We should appreciate monk as a monk. We should appreciate nun as a nun. And we should appreciate Buddhas and Bodhisattvas like Manjushri, which manifests in the form of a man, as a Manjushri, male. And Bodhisattva who manifest in the form of female, like Saraswati, we should appreciate and uphold as a Saraswati female. For example, like Chakrasambhara as a male and Vajravarahi as a female, and we have to appreciate and respect and practice them. We should not practice Chakrasambhara as a female and Vajrayogini or Vajravarahi as a male. We should never do that. We should practice as they manifest. Actually, in Vajrayana Buddhism, and I don't think I have the full right to comment on other religion, but as a human being, I went all over the world. I have seen so many things. So the commercialization of Dharma is there in every religion that I am familiar with. Certain religions I'm not that familiar. I'm not very much involved with them. Did not have much, let's say, interaction with them. But there is like yoga, there is like meditation, there's like a ritual, there's like a sacred exercise from South India, there is a sacred exercise from Shaolin Temple of China. There is a sacred exercise from Vajrayana monasteries in very much as heart of the Vajrayana practice. Normally it is done in 3 years retreat. They're all becoming very much part of let's say fashionable day-to-day exposure. You see them in movies, you see them in sort of commercial setups. There's so many commercial setups where you can go and learn meditation, learn these things, learn that things, pay a little bit of money here and there, and all those things. It is happening. And also, I give you a very simple example, like sacred mandalas of our lineage. In original times of great Mahasiddhas like Nagarjuna, like Maitripa, like Telopa, Naropa, Shawaripa, during those times, they are not even shown to the common people, except a disciple who is ready for that practice, together with empowerments. But now you can buy a calendar. January is this mandala, February is that mandala, March is that mandala, and every month the picture of the calendar is one mandala, and they will call it mandala calendar. And this is of course not correct. And then nowadays you can see, I also saw, first time when I saw it I got shocked, but then when I saw so many times, then I also became a little bit numb, So that is like I see very devoted Buddhist people carrying small bags, and the cover of the bag is Buddha, so which is unbelievable, but it is happening. So what can I say? But one way, of course, people who don't know about Buddha, they get to see Buddha, as a cover of somebody's bag. So that way it is a good opportunity. But another way, Buddha, we take refuge to Buddha, we take refuge to Dharma, we take refuge to Sangha as the foundation. And then we are using Buddha as a cover of a bag in which we might be keeping our socks, our handkerchiefs, our dirty napkins, our all kind of things, So that is absolutely not correct. So that's how it is, and I don't think we should be radical about going after all this kind of thing. But we ourselves have to do our best to not indulge in such way, and then that way we also should pray, and if there is any chance to let's say put our advice, if it is a disciple who is doing it, or our opinion, if somebody bigger than us doing it, then we should do that. But if it is not going to work, then we better keep quiet and pray. I think as Tai Situ, for all of the previous incarnations of Tai Situ, always connected as Karmapa. Of course, they had many other gurus as well, but Karmapa is always there. And sometimes some Tai Situs have been the main guru of Karmapa. So, since you asked me this question, you want me to talk about this, actually, it is not my choice. My Guru Vajradhara, 16th Jaro Karmapa, left the written instruction which describes how to search and discover the 17th Jaro Karmapa. So he left that with me. And that made me, of course, with great honor, but at the same time having to do everything to fulfill this mission. And my mission, as far as I'm concerned, I believe is complete when His Holiness 17th Karmapa was discovered according to the written instruction left by His Holiness the 16th Jaro Karmapa, and when he was enthroned, and after that, my responsibility, I feel, is complete. But then, in his letter also mentioned some clue, and then His Holiness 17th Javakamapa himself asked me to transmit many of the teachings that I received from my Guru Vajradhara, His Holiness, the 16th Javakamapa. So that way, I have done almost everything far as transmission of the lineage that I have received from his previous incarnation back to him, the 17th Javakamapa, Ujjinti. Almost complete. The Guru means only one thing, that is, who transmit the precious Dharma to you. Whether it is teaching, or whether it is meditation instruction, or whether it is empowerment, or whether it is ordination. And what the Guru transmits to you is what that Guru have received from his or her Guru. And that goes back to Buddha Shakyamuni. Whether it is Nirmanakaya form of Buddha Shakyamuni, or whether it is Sambhogakaya form of Buddha Shakyamuni. For example, all the deities like Mandala of Kala Chakra, Mandala of Chakra Sambhara, Mandala of He Vajra, Mandala of Guhya Samaja, all of them, Buddha Sambhogakaya manifestation, not Nirmanakaya manifestation. So the source is Sambhogakaya manifestation. And from there until today, unbroken lineage of transmission. So who transmits that to you is your Guru. If it is ordination, then that person is your ordination Guru. If it is meditation instruction, then that is your meditation instruction Guru. If it is empowerment, that is your empowerment Guru. But when you say how to express love and respect to Guru, well, your sincerity to receive this Dharma for the purpose of what Dharma is for, to attain Buddhahood, for all sentient beings to attain Buddhahood, then that is what makes you and your Guru connect. Your devotion to your Guru, your faith to your Guru, because you know that your Guru have the ability and the lineage to transmit this sacred empowerment or ordination or teaching to you. You have the faith. And that faith then manifests in devotion, faith, respect, care, appreciation, and honor. And all of that is what Guru and disciple relationship involve. It is to teach Dharma, it is to receive Dharma, it is to practice Dharma. Nothing can make your Guru more happy than practice the Dharma without contaminating, as your Guru taught you. That should be the greatest offering to your Guru. And then, of course, your Guru also might want you to do certain things that are beneficial for you and beneficial for the other disciples, and also a service to humanity at large, and service to the entire teaching of Buddha. Because for the future generation, we have to leave good and sound and a complete and healthy institution. Otherwise, something that is wonderful in this generation will not be the same in next generation. So although everything is impermanent, we have to do our best to secure that pureness and have a proper, appropriate, suitable condition for upholding and cherishing and receiving this sacred lineage to continue for next generations. So there's many things, but that all of that is actually practice of Dharma, one way or another. Actually, I am exposed to His Holiness the 16th Karmapa when I am 18 months old at Palpung Monastery in Kingdom of Derge in East Tibet. Since then, he is my Guru. So when I am about 5 years old, then I am brought to India by my senior lamas, quite good number of them. It took more than 2 years from Palpung Monastery to reach to India, and we reached to India through Bhutan, the Kingdom of Bhutan, because His Majesty the King and Her Majesty the Queen and the royal family and people of Bhutan and my predecessors have great religious Dharma connection. So that way we came through Bhutan and to India. So when I'm about 7-8 years old, I received many empowerments from His Holiness the 16th Karmapa in Sikkim. But I'm not living in Rumtek until I am 13 years old. I was in Gangtok, I was in Darjeeling, all these places for various reasons, such as health treatments, as well as all of my lamas and monks. They are living there, so they took care of me. So when I'm 13 years old, then I came to Rimtek Monastery, Dharmachakra Center, the seat of His Holiness Jawakamapa. Then I received novice ordination. Since then, I lived in Rimtek Monastery for 9 years until I'm 22. So this 9 years, every day I received teachings, empowerments, instructions, ordinations, so non-stop, continuous study and practice and receiving transmissions from quite few great masters who were appointed by my Guru Vajradhara, His Holiness the 16th Jawakamapa. And then from himself, I saw him every day and spent many hours every single day. And so that way, for me, he is Buddha in human form. That is all I can say. And I received everything that he received from his masters. And I am absolutely content with what I have received. Of course, there's much more that I can learn and I can receive from many other masters, which I also like to do. But not because I'm not content. I'm already content. When you ask that do I find any difference between the disciples from the Orient and disciples from the Occident, actually yes and no, because I have been teaching non-Tibetans since I was about 24 years old. And since then, 23, 24, that is when I started teaching. Before that, I'm learning and practicing. So from end of 22, beginning of 23, then starting to teach. And in essence, there isn't much difference. But those days there seems to be slight differences. Because Oriental people, like Indians, Nepalese, Southeast Asians, and people of these areas, many of the Southeast Asian disciples, not just many, I mean all of them, almost 99% of them are Chinese origin. There is some Indian origins in Malaysia and Hong Kong. Otherwise, like Taiwan and Malaysia, Hong Kong, all the Indonesia, most of the people who come to receive the Dharma is Chinese origin. And then when you say Occidental, then it is European and Americans. But then I don't know what they call it for Africans, and then also people from like in Australia, New Zealand, all of these people, normally Oceanians or something like that, Africans and Oceanians. So every culture there's slight differences, yes. But what I found differences that are noticeable, although it is surface differences, that is the Occidental people, to make it easier, Western people, when they come to Dharma, mainly they come to learn how to practice Dharma, meditation, and so on. Mainly meditation. And then some to study philosophies. And then when it comes to Orientals, then mainly to receive blessings, initiations, and doing rituals, pujas, giving blessings for protection for their family, their business, their children's education, their health, all these kind of purposes. So I found that it is very much because Buddhism was part of their culture in Orient. Their forefathers have been Buddhist. So it became very much like part of their everyday culture. Vice versa, in the Occidental, in Western society, then there is a religion that they have, quite few religion that they have, which are not very different from Buddhism in sort of way they play the role in their social life. But when these individuals come to learn Buddhism, then they are not coming for that same purpose. They are coming for something different, something that they did not get from what they already have. So that is meditation, study of philosophy, doing meditation, doing Dharma practice, doing retreat, all these kind of reasons. So I see these kind of differences. But now, in 21st century, year 2013, the whole world become very much, let's say, mixed. So the uniqueness of either Oriental or Occidental is fading away. And sometimes the Oriental are more Occidental than the Occidentals, and sometimes some Occidentals are more Oriental than the Orientals. And that way, very difficult to say there is much differences. But basically, that is my experience. Actually, art is one of the 10 aspects of knowledge, and out of 10 aspects of knowledge, art is one of the 5 greater knowledge, because it is about creation and expression. So it is very important for us to express and be creative. This ability is quite important. I can't say you can't do without it, but almost it is essential. For example, in Vajrayana Buddhism, we visualize. That is creating. We in Tibetan words, Tibetan language, we call it Rim, Jepa. Jepa means imagination, imagining. Zopa means completion. So the creativity plays very important role. But of course, the creativity according to the lineage and the text, and the creativity that is coming from yourself, there is a slight differences. But what comes from yourself definitely have everything to do with what you have received and what you have practiced. You can't express what you can't express, and you can only express what you can express. And even you pretend, you're pretending. You're not that, but you're pretending to be that. So that is also a creativity. And you can never get away from the truth, what you are. So this way, creativity is very important. For example, with traditional art, like iconography, Buddha's image, the mandala, and all kind of paintings of deities, which are the Buddha Sambhogakaya, and paintings of life story of great masters, or the portrait of great masters of the lineage. And all these things are very important. And nowadays we have camera. So camera can catch some important story, but only of that particular time. You cannot take the picture of the past or picture of the future, or you cannot take the picture of the mind. So only how far you can go far as taking the picture of the mind is take the picture of the body language, facial expression, and the eye. Eye can never lie. Mouth can lie, but eye can never lie. So this way, all aspect of art form, traditional or new, they all are equally important. And music is in Vajrayana Buddhism part of the practice, because when you sit in a major puja, then there is music whole day. Right now you can hear the music coming from the shrine doing Mahakala Puja. So this way it is part and parcel of our practice. Very important. You're correct. Some people think I'm a good artist. I don't have any comments on that, whether I'm a good artist or not. But I really enjoy very much taking photographs, making paintings such as watercolor or acrylic, and I also very much interested in sculpture, which I really did not manage to get into satisfactorily up to today, because you need lots of time and lots of space and lots of tools to do that, make sculptures. So whatever I paint, it is my painting. And what comes out of me represents me. And certain paintings I'm very happy, and certain paintings I'm not that happy. So those paintings I'm not that happy, I burn them, because I don't want to share something which I think does not have any good and positive and harmony in them. I only like to share that have harmony in them. I'm not here to just express everything, including all the rubbish in me. I am working on all the rubbish in me. I do retreat, I do practice to purify them. And they're very helpful, of course, for me to understand other people's problem, because I also used to have similar problem or still have similar problem. Then I can understand their language. So very helpful. But I'm not interested to create something that when they see their negative emotions will be encouraged or weakened. I'm not interested to share that, because I want everybody's negative emotions to overcome, and I want everyone to be in harmony. So that is very much what my arts represent for me. It is me. It is piece of me. And what you see is the more harmonious and positive aspect of me. And when I paint them, I enjoy at the same time. Other people, when they see them, I hope that it will make them feel harmonious and get some insight. You know, when you teach, there's so many words and so many things you have to say. But when you paint, everything is there. And they just have to look. You don't have to say very much. Most of the time, there is a title. But sometimes no title. And then another one more thing is, 8th Tai Situ was a great artist, a great linguist. Beside all his high enlightenment. So maybe influenced by that since I was a child, I'm very much interested in iconography. I didn't have opportunity to really study them properly because of many other things to study. And also in language, I'm very much interested. But I did not manage to study many languages I really wanted to up to today. And now maybe a bit too late, or maybe not. Let's see. So that also influenced me, I think. I don't have to say, but it is interesting that I have to say. Mind and body are intricate part of each other right now. Of course, because of our ignorance, because of our karma. But we can't have so much maturity of our mind so that mind can affect the body instead of body affecting the mind. So most of us, our body is affecting our mind. So it is very important. And I have Bodhidharma right here. And he is the master of mind and body. Bodhidharma is from India. And he was an Indian prince. And his physical exercise and mind meditation together. So this form of meditation or art or training or whatever you call it, it is from India to Tibet, to China, to Japan, to Korea, to Thailand, to now all over the world. And this is activity of the Buddha, and activity of the Buddha through the Bodhidharma. And I personally think it is extremely important and also very accessible and very let's say appropriate for 21st century people, because they like to see the result of their practice right away. So the physical practice, you see the result right away. So it is very, very important. Well, physical exercise is mind and body in harmony. And that connection between mind and body is breathing, the air, breathing. And the essence of breathing is the energy. So that is how we, from the past life, came into this life, through the energy. I just give you a example. This is a little eccentric and poetic. We have been riding the dragon and the Garuda, and that way we are riding the wind. And in the whole universe which is created or made out of or manifested from 5 elements, beside the space, the most subtle one is air. And then that way, that air entered into the water. Because next most subtle is water. So the fire and the earth and all of these things together, then the fruit is this body and this mind. But mind have no shape, no form. You can be 10 foot tall. You can be 3 foot tall. You can be 5 foot tall. You can be 500 kilo. You can be 50 kilo. Doesn't matter. Your mind have no weight. Only the body. But proper breathing and proper balance of the elements in your body, then your mind will be in harmony. Body and mind is interdependent right now. After some time, when we reach certain level of realization, then of course, mind is limitless and body is limited. Then if we go beyond that, even body is limitless. When Milarepa entered into horn of a yak, which is very small, yak's horn didn't become bigger, Milarepa didn't become smaller. How can that be possible? And he's sitting there very comfortably and singing song. If you are equal to me, you come here. It is quite cozy here. So that is the mastering. Mind over matter. Ultimately speaking. But relatively, we all should learn to have a good body and also learn to breathe properly. Breathe with balance. When we are emotional, we are breathing not in good rhythm. When we are angry, not in good balance. So, if you have a big problem, you're depressed or something, you just go out and have a good you feel much better. I can't say your problems go away, but you feel much better, and then you can find the solution for your problem. Actually, again, repeating my response to your earlier request, that is commercial. So now the great Bodhidharma's teaching and its practice also become commercial. I'm not complaining, but then we should maybe rediscover the essence of all of these great techniques. Body have how many pieces of bone and how many muscles there to function, and what kind of neurological systems that our body have, and how do they coordinate with each other, and with good physical and mental coordination condition, everything becomes harmony and spontaneous. People call it martial art. It's okay, but sometimes I find it a little bit not proper, because it's not only for fighting. It is actually, I describe it as physical discipline. And physical potential is developing to the full, complete as possible. So the basic kind of cultivation, foundation for that is what Bodhidharma's teaching, which are available today in gyms and in clubs and in different names, but places like a center for learning those things. And when the students of this kind of physical discipline admires and respect their teacher so much, then their teacher have lots of responsibility, because their teacher should be able to not only teach them to have big muscles or a very attractive body, or kick high, jump high, break hard, all that sort of thing. They also should teach them at the same time the essence of all of it, which is body and mind are inseparable now. But ultimately, the body is the manifestation of the mind. And in a samsaric, worldly, undeveloped way, then our karma and our defilements and neurosis make it appears that mind is the manifestation of the body. So we have to turn it around. And the essence of mind is perfect, with no limitation. people do something wrong, people easily say it's human nature. It is not. Human nature is not like that. Human nature is perfect. As a Buddhist, human nature is Buddha. So, we have to be able to say, when somebody does something wonderful, we should say, that is human nature. You know? Instead of saying, that's human nature when somebody does something wrong. So we have to be able to turn this around. And in many ways, but as a trainer and instructor of physical fitness and different techniques of that fitness, especially lineage that is connected with Bodhidharma or back to the Buddha, then I think that responsibility comes without any question. When you say people in big cities like New York, Moscow, London, Beijing, Mumbai, Cape Town, Sydney, all these places, there's so many of them. So all these places, so big cities, technically you're talking about big cities. Then there people have lots of anger and lots of distraction. They are distracted and frustrated. It is quite natural because you imagine a pack of wild animals. They have their own territories. And when there's only one pack in a big area, there's not so much conflict and not so much stress. But there's 2 pack, there's 3 pack, there's 10 pack, there's 100 pack, there's 1,000 pack, there's 10,000 pack in same area. Then stress will be a lot. So the human community in big cities where lots of things are happening and you have to compete for everything and you have to rush and at the same time there's so many attractions because there's also others who is taking the opportunity and being creative to make this massive human population as their source of livelihood. The people have to eat and people have to be entertained, so on and so forth. So there's so much effort is made to attract people for various things. So that also become an obstacle for achieving your own personal goal. I'm talking about worldly goal, because you spend so much time on those things, then you can't really put enough time on your own, let's say, job or business or study or whatever your profession is. So that is the reason. There could be other reason, but I see that is a very simple reason. So there, I think the best way is to practice patience, practice compassion, and and be mindful, be aware, so that you don't get into the wrong place at the right time. Because when something happening in the wrong place, then you are there on that right time, then you will be a victim of certain undesirable circumstances. And at the same time, also to feel compassion to those who are creating trouble for themselves and trouble for others. At the same time, you also don't get attracted to unnecessary things. And also, when you are competing with your field, because there's others also involved in the same field, which is unavoidable. You have to compete, but compete with fairness, compete with honesty. And then if that is not 100% possible sometime, then do something to make up for it. Do some good things. And remember that you have done something not so fair. And so therefore you have to do something which is really beneficial and meaningful for the others in order to make up for it. And then learn from this and not to repeat that again. So that sort of thing. And many, many, many things. But it will be case by case. I don't think one can generalize everything. Emptiness is most important foundation for everything. If it is not for the emptiness, we have no hope. We have so much karma, so if these karmas are solid and permanent and not emptiness, then how can we overcome all these karmas? How are you going to purify your karma? Even you just drink water for next 100 years, 1 glass of water, if you make it drinkable, you have to filter. You have to kill all the germs by the millions. If you don't filter them, then you have to drink, and then inside your stomach you're creating Third World War, because your germs inside, and then these germs that you drink in, they will be fighting, and then you will have problem, which people call it stomach problem. And then once you get used to it, then you are digesting hundreds of thousands of live creatures each time you drink a glass of water. So how can you purify anything? How can you become Buddha? Impossible. So relatively everything is there. Ultimately nothing is happening. Therefore, when you realize the ultimate, then billions of lifetimes of karma is purified in that moment. But that moment is what somebody like Bodhidharma have achieved, what somebody like Nagarjuna have achieved, what somebody like Telopa, Naropa, like Milarepa, Guru Padmasambhava, what they have achieved. So we have to follow their path to achieve that. But we have to know the meaning of emptiness from that point of view. Ultimately, nothing is happening. relatively everything is happening. Ultimately, karma doesn't exist. Relatively, everything is karma. Long as we have great realization like these enlightened ones, we are totally controlled by relative truth. If you throw up a rock will fall down, not a flower. If you plant a rice will grow, not a corn. If you plant a potato will grow, not a tomato. Ultimately, nothing has happened and nothing is happening, and relatively everything has happened and everything is happening. So ultimately, karma does not exist. Relatively, everything is a result of karma. And when that ultimate becomes relevant is when we reach the level of somebody like Bodhidharma, like Nagarjuna, like Milarepa, like Delopa, Naropa, this kind of realization, like Guru Padma Sambhava, like that kind of realization. When we reach that, then the relative truth transforms into ultimate truth. So therefore, countless lifetimes of karma is purified in that moment. So it is very important for us to know. But we can't be careless because we know karma doesn't exist ultimately, because right now if you plant a potato will grow, a tomato will not grow, right? And if you throw up a rock will fall down on your head. A flower will not fall down on your head, right? So this way, right now, cause and condition is just identical. Emptiness is most important foundation for everything. If it is not for the emptiness, we have no hope. You know, we have so much karma, so if these karmas are solid and permanent and not emptiness, then how can we overcome all these karmas? How are you going to purify your karma? Even you just drink water for next 100 years, you know, one glass of water, if you make it drinkable, you have to filter. You have to kill all the germs by the millions. If you don't filter them, then you have to drink, and then inside your stomach you're creating Third World War, because your germs inside, and then these germs that you drink in, they will be fighting, and then you will have problem, which people call it stomach problem. And then once you get used to it, then you are digesting hundreds of thousands of life creatures each time you drink a glass of water. So how can you purify anything? How can you become Buddha? Impossible. So relatively everything is there. Ultimately nothing is happening. Therefore, when you realize the ultimate, then billions of lifetimes of karma is purified in that moment. But that moment is what somebody like Bodhidharma have achieved. what somebody like Nagarjuna have achieved, what somebody like Telopa, Naropa, like Milarepa, Guru Padma Sambhava, what they have achieved. So we have to follow their path to achieve that. But we have to know the meaning of emptiness from that point of view. Ultimately, nothing is happening. Relatively, everything is happening. Ultimately, karma doesn't exist. Relatively, everything is karma. Long as we have great realization like these enlightened ones, we are totally controlled by relative truth. If you throw up a rock will fall down, not a flower. If you plant a rice will grow, not a corn. If you plant a potato will grow, not a tomato. Ultimately, nothing has happened and nothing is happening, and relatively everything has happened and everything is happening. So ultimately, karma does not exist. Relatively, everything is a result of karma. And when that ultimate becomes relevant is when we reach the level of somebody like Bodhidharma, like Nagarjuna, like Milarepa, like Telopa, Naropa, this kind of realization, like Guru Padma Sambhava, like that kind of realization. When we reach that, then the relative truth transforms into ultimate truth. So therefore, countless lifetimes of karma is purified in that moment. So it is very important for us to know. But we can't be careless because we know karma doesn't exist ultimately, because right now if you plant a potato will grow, a tomato will not grow, right? And if you throw up a rock will fall down on your head. A flower will not fall down on your head, right? So this way, right now, cause and condition is just identical. The people of the 21st century, whether they are Oriental or Occidental, they are from South, North, East, West, or Central, wherever they come from. One thing that they all should understand is, just like you who like to be happy and don't like to suffer, everybody don't like to suffer and they like to be happy. Same, exactly same. Therefore, you take care of yourself. At the same time, you also take care of others. If you can't put others before you, then you put yourself before others, but then others should follow after you. And then slowly, you might be able to take care of yourself and others at the same time. Then after some time, you don't have to take care of yourself. Then you can spend all of your time and energy for taking care of others. Many people have done that, you know. In our recent times, late Mother Teresa of Calcutta have done that. And we don't know right now very clearly, but I'm quite sure there's many people on this earth who are doing exactly like Mother Teresa. Men, women, so many people doing good things like that, dedicated. So you try to aim towards being like that. But meanwhile, you do your best. Enjoy your life, but don't indulge. Be diligent, but don't be desperate. Be happy, but don't be greedy. I'm not ordering you, but I'm requesting you. Buddha bless you. Buddha bless you. Buddha bless you.